Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act 2005. Introduction. The Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act 2005 is a set of rules created by the Ontario government to make things easier for people with disabilities. It tells different sectors what they must do to remove barriers and ensure that everyone, including those with disabilities, can access services and opportunities fairly. Significance. Encouraging inclusion. AODA is crucial for including people with disabilities by making sure they can access services and participate fully. It aims to create a fairer society where everyone gets the same chances. And second significance is enhancing compliance and awareness. AODA pushes business and organizations to follow accessibility rules, leading to better services and facilities for those with disabilities. It also teaches people why accessibility is important, making communities and workplaces more welcoming for everyone. Overview. The Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act AODA became law in 2005 in Ontario, making it the first province in Canada to have such a law. It was made to help people with disabilities access services and opportunities more easily. The law was created after taking too many different people and groups, including those with disabilities, businesses, and others. It aims to gradually improve accessibility across different areas like services, jobs, transportation, and building. The law has been updated over time to make it better. It's an important step in making sure everyone, including those with disabilities, can fully take part in society. Objectives and scope. First one is removing barriers. AODA aims to identify and eliminate obstacles hindering the full participation of individuals with disabilities in society. Second is establishing standards. The legislation sets guidelines in areas like customer service, employment, transportation, and built environments to enhance accessibility. Third one is encourage inclusion. AODA promotes inclusivity by ensuring equal access to services, facilities, and opportunities for people with disabilities. Fourth one is raising awareness. It educates business and organization about the importance of accessibility and encourages compliance with standards. Fifth one is gradually implementation. AODA follow a phased approach, allowing organization time to meet accessibility requirement gradually. Sixth one is enforcement. The legislation includes monitoring mechanisms and penalties for non-compliance to ensure adherence to accessibility standards.
So I'll be explaining key provisions and crucial concepts. So the first is purpose. The AODS Act's main objective is to remove all barriers for people with disabilities in Ontario by creating, enforcing, and implementing accessibility standards. The second is standard development. In accordance with the Act, stakeholders, including individuals with disabilities, companies, and the public sector, must be consulted in order to create accessibility standards. Third is enforcement. The Act creates enforcement procedures such as inspections, compliance, reporting, and sections for non compliance. Fourth is training requirements. The Act mandates training for employees and volunteers on accessibility standards and the needs of people with disabilities. So the another act which is done by AODA is Accessible Built Environment. This act mandates that all new construction and significant upgrades to public areas adhere to accessibility guidelines which include installing ramps, elevators and handicapped accessible restroom. So like if handicapped people are going in any kind of public area so they don't have a problem while using ramps or either it is a washroom or either is there any other facility. So the last is employment standards. Employers are required to provide accommodation for employees with disabilities and develop policies for recruitment, retention, and advancement of employees with disabilities. So it's again a great act. So like the people who are disabled, they doesn't feel like they are different. They, if they want to work, they can work.
Practical implications of Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act in real life scenarios. The Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act was passed in 2005, aims to improve accessibility for people with disabilities in Ontario, Canada. Here are some ways the AODA is implemented in real life scenarios. Customer service. The AODA requires organizations to provide accessible customer service, for example, accommodating individuals with disabilities and service dogs. Number 2, information and communications. Organizations are required to make their information and communication accessible to people with disabilities. This may involve providing information in accessible formats such as electronic text or audio recordings. Employment. The AODA sets standards for accessible employment practices. Employers are required to provide accommodation during the hiring process, such as accessible application forms or interview arrangements. Transportation. The AODA aims to improve accessible transportation for individuals with disabilities. This includes making public transportation systems more accessible, such as providing accessible seating, ramps, and announcements. Examples of companies that successfully implemented the AODA standards in real life scenarios: TD Bank, Walmart Canada, Loblaws, Toronto Pearson Airport.
Conclusion: AODA, that is Accessibility for Ontarians with Disability Act, which was implemented from the year 2005. It is a comprehensive legislation in Ontario, Canada, designed to create a more inclusive society by setting accessibility standards across various sectors. It also addresses the barriers faced by individuals with disabilities in areas like services, employment, and information. AODA ensures that all individuals, regardless of disability, have equal opportunities. The law establishes clear standards guiding businesses and organizations to make their facilities, services, and information accessible to everybody. The direct impact of this law is barrier elimination. It removes all barriers, fostering a more accessible environment for people with disabilities. It also spreads awareness among communities. Learn about AODA. Why? First is empowerment. Understanding AODA empowers individuals to advocate for inclusive practices and accessibility. Second is legal awareness. Stay informed about your rights and obligations under this essential legislation. Third is social impact. Knowledge of AODA contributes to building a more inclusive and considerate society with equal rights. How to learn about AODA? There are various platforms one can get information about AODA. First is online resources. One can gain knowledge about AODA from the following website, which is mentioned below. Training programs. There are various workshops, online courses, which gives a in-depth knowledge about AODA requirements and how it works. Third is community engagement. Sharing information with your community to create a great effect of awareness to society. It creates a great impact when community involved in such practices